Hi everybody, it's Crystal. So today we're going to be making this hat here. It's a relatively easy hat. It should fit about size 19 to 22 inch head, and I'll give you a measurement. It's about 7.5 inches long. Of course, you can make it longer if you want a slouchy. I always recommend putting a couple more inches on it. So this is, you can see that the yarn I used is a very busy yarn. Normally I would not use busy yarns, but I like the yarn. It's a really cool looking yarn and it's sparkly. So why don't we talk about the yarn that I use, and we'll talk about what you could do to change things up. The yarn I used was from the Balloon Heron yarn company, and it is their beaded wool metallic. The color is called Deep Moon Ombre, and there's 250 yards here, so I'm gonna say it'd probably take about 180 to 200 yards, probably about 200 yards to make this hat. Now this is a DK weight yarn, so a lightweight number 3. So this hat is designed for a lightweight number 3. You do not have to use that yarn. Any lightweight 3 yarn will work, and actually you can use a 4 weight if you want. All you have to do is leave off a row of increases. So whenever that time comes, I'll mention it and I'll tell you how many stitches you should have at that point if you're using a 4 weight yarn. So it's relatively simple. It does have a basic double crochet top, and then we got some half double crochet 2 togethers and some single crochet rows, and then a single crochet brim. I knew that this was a pretty busy yarn, so I tried to make it more simple, but I think it's going to look beautiful as well in any type of yarn that you choose. Remember, this is a 3 weight, and I'm going to be doing it for a 3 weight, but when the time comes, I will tell you how to switch it up for if you want to use a 4 weight instead of a 3 weight. All right. So for the 3 weight, if you're using a 3 weight, you're going to want to use a size I, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. And if you choose to use a 4 weight, I would recommend a J, which is a 6 millimeter crochet hook. So you guys ready? All right, let's do it. All right. So we're going to go ahead and start out with a slip knot on our hook. Now you can use the magic circle for this top part if you prefer. We're just going to do a basic double crochet crown beanie. So if you want to use a magic circle, that's fine. Otherwise, you want to do a chain of 4, and then we're going to slip stitch right back into the first stitch to form a ring, and that will be our ring that we work into. All right, so we're going to chain 1. Now that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So we're going to be working back through the center of the ring here, and we're going to do 12 double crochets through the center. So we're going to yarn over, go through the ring, and draw up a loop, and then we just do our double crochet as normal. So that would be number 1. Since that chain 1 doesn't count, we got 1 double. Again, we yarn over, we go through the center of the ring, grab our yarn, pull it back through, and double crochet like normal. That's 2. There's 3. There's 4, and I'm going to continue in the same manner until I get a total of 12, and I'll meet back up with you. All right, so I've made it around to my starting point, and I have 12 double crochets. We're going to go ahead and slip stitch into the top of our first double crochet, and that will end around 1, 12 double crochets. So we're going to go ahead and start round 2. We're going to chain 1. Now we're going to work right back into the exact same stitch that we just slip stitched into, and we're going to put 2 double crochets into that stitch. So there's 1 and there's 2. Now what we're going to do for round 2 is we're going to work around, we're going to put 2 double crochets into every single stitch from the previous row. So we're increasing, we're doubling the amount of stitches. So I'm going to work around putting 2 double crochets in each of the double crochets from row 1. And we had 12 on row 1. So when we make it back around to the beginning, or back around to the end of row 2, we should have a total of 24 double crochets. All right, I'll see you there in a sec. All right, so I've made it to the end of row 2 and I have 24 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into my first double crochet, and that will complete that round. And now we're going to go ahead and start round 3. So the repeat for this round is we are going to chain 1 to start. We're going to go back into that very first stitch here that we just slip stitched into, and we're just going to put 1 double crochet into it. And then in the next stitch, we will put 2 double crochets into that stitch. So there's 1 and 2. And that'll be the repeat for row 3. So it'll be 1 double crochet into the next stitch. And then the next stitch will be 2 double crochets into the same stitch. 1 double into the next stitch, and then 2 doubles into the next stitch. And we're going to repeat this same pattern of 1 double, 2 double, 1 double, 2 double, 1 double, 2 double, all the way around until we make it back to our starting point. We're increasing this round by 12 stitches. So our last round we had 24. At the end of round 3 we should have a total of 36 stitches. So I'll meet right back up with you in just a second. All right, I come to the end of round 3 and you should have 36 stitches. Your last stitch you should end with 2 double crochets into it, and then we're going to go ahead and end the round by slip stitching into the top of our first double crochet. All right, let's go ahead and begin round 4 with a chain 1. We're going to go right back into that very first stitch that we just slip stitched into and work a 1 double crochet. And then we're going to put 1 double crochet into the next stitch. So counting that first double, we have 2 double crochets right there in a row. Now the next stitch will be 2 double crochets into the same stitch. And that will be the repeat for row 4. Be 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So there's 1. And there's 2, and then the next stitch we'll get 2 double crochets into the same stitch. Repeat it, 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. There's 1, there's 2, and then the next stitch we'll get 2 double crochets into the same stitch. So you want to go ahead and repeat this pattern of 1 double, 1 double, 2 doubles, 1 double, 1 double, 2 doubles, all the way around, and we will be increasing again on round 4 by 12 stitches. So when you make it back to your starting point, you should have a total of 48 stitches. Don't worry if it's flopping and looking funny. They always look funny until we get finished usually. All right, so I'll meet back up with you at the starting point. All right, so I made it to the end of round 4, and again you should have ended in 2 double crochets at your last stitch. I do have my 48 stitches. Let's end it by slip stitching into our first double crochet, and then we can begin round 5. All right, so we're going to chain 1. Now we're going to go back into the first stitch and put a double crochet, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next 2. So counting that first one, we now have 3 double crochets in a row. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to put 2 double crochets into the next. So that will be the repeat for round 5. Pretty easy. 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So there's 1, 2, and there's 3. And then the next stitch, we'll get 2 double crochets into the same stitch. All right, again, same repeat. 1 double crochet into the next 3. There's 1, 2, 3 and 2 doubles into the next, and this would be the round 5 repeat. So 1 double, 1 double, 1 double, 2 doubles, 1 double, 1 double, 1 double, 2 doubles, and again we're increasing by 12 stitches. So when you make it back around to the end of round 5, you should have a total of 60 stitches. I'll see you there here in just a second. All right, so I've made it to the end of round 5, and you should have a total of 60 stitches now, and we're going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into our first double crochet. Now remember, if you're using a 4-weight, this is where you would stop at 60 stitches, and if you're using a 3-weight like me, we're going to do another round of increases. All right, so 4-weight, you stop here at 60 stitches. And a 3-weight, we're going to go ahead and do one more round here. So round 6 here, we're going to chain 1, and we are going to do a double crochet into the next 4 stitches. So starting with the very first one here that we just slip stitched into, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the next stitch we'll get 2 doubles in that same stitch, and that will be the repeat for round 6 if you're using that 3-weight yarn like me. Again, 1 double crochet into the next 4. There's 1, my goodness, 2, 3, and 4, and 2 doubles into the next. So we're going to repeat this pattern of 1 double crochet in the next 4, and then 2 double crochets into the next, which will add 12 more stitches. So when you get back around to the beginning or the end of row 6 here, you should have a total of 72 stitches. Alright, so I've made it to the end of round 6. I have my 72 stitches, and I'm going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into my first double crochet. And now I'm going to pull up a little bit. I'm going to measure the crown. Remember, it's okay if it's slipping up a bit. We'll take care of it. So I always shoot for anywhere in between 6 to 6 and 3/4 inches, something like that, across the top. Okay, let's see. We got 7. It's going to work for me. I'll take it. I take 7 too. All right. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and we are going to start round 7. Now, remember, if you're using a 4-weight, I won't repeat it anymore, but you will have 60 stitches from now on. And if you're using the 3-weight like me, you'll have 72 stitches from now on. And if you're using a 4-weight, you're going to be 1 row behind us. Okay. So we'll be starting on row 7 right now. If you're using the 4-weight yarn, you'll be starting on row 6. So I'm going to continue on with my 3-weight yarn pattern. So row 7, we are going to chain 1, and we're just going to go back in that same stitch and double crochet. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to work around, and we're going to put 1 double crochet into every single stitch. So no increasing. All right, we're just going to put 1 double into every stitch, and I will meet back up with you when I make it to the end of row 7. And remember, we will still have our 72 stitches. All right, so I've made it to the end of round 7, 72 stitches still. I'm going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into my first double crochet. Now round 8, we're going to chain 1, and now we're going to work a row of single crochet. So we're going to go right back into that first stitch that we just slip stitched into in single crochet, and we're going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around until we make it to the end of the row. Following along with me, you still should have your 72 stitches. So round 8 is just a 1 single crochet in every stitch until you make it back to your starting point. All right, so I made it to the end of round 8 and I still have my 72 stitches. So what you want to do is go ahead and end by slip stitching into your first single crochet. And we're going to go ahead and start round 9. So what we're going to do for round 9 is we're going to chain 1. Now that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. We're going to be working a half double crochet 2 together. So I'll show you how that's done. So we're going to yarn over and go into that very first stitch that we just slip stitched into and draw up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Then we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch and draw up a loop. And you'll have 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go through all 5 loops like that. Don't chain 1. And then we're going to do it again. But we're going to start the next one where we just ended the last one. So we're going to yarn over, go back into the same stitch that we just ended the last one and draw up a loop. So you got 3 loops. And then we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch that's empty and draw up a loop. 5 loops. Yarn over and go through all 5. Don't chain 1 though. And then we're going to do that again. So we're going to yarn over and go back into the same stitch that we just finished our last one in. Draw up a loop. Then we're going to yarn over and go into the next empty stitch. Draw up a loop. 5 loops. Yarn over and go through all 5. Again, we're going to yarn over and go back into the same stitch that we just finished our last one and draw up a loop. Then we're going to yarn over and go into the next empty stitch. Draw up a loop. 5 loops. Yarn over and go through all 5. And this is what we're going to repeat all the way around. Just remember that you always start your first one, or you yarn over and go back into the same stitch that you just finished your last one in. Draw up a loop, and then you go into the very next stitch, which will be empty. Draw up a loop, yarn over and go through all 5. So it's very easy. Works out pretty quick. We're just going to do this all the way around until you get near the end, and I'll show you how we finish out this stitch here. All right, I'll meet back up with you here at our starting point. All right, so I'm coming to the end here, and as you can see, I have no more stitches left, but I only have 71 of these half double crochet 2 togethers. I need 72 because we should always have 72 stitches. So I'm going to show you how you get the very last one. All right, so for the last one, you're going to yarn over and go back into that same stitch that you just finished the last one in. Draw up a loop. And then we're going to yarn over and go into the very first stitch where we made our very first one. Go into that same stitch and draw up a loop. You got your 5 loops. Yarn over and go through all 5. And now you have a 72 of those. And we are going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into our first one at the top here. There we go. Now, if it looks like it got wide, that's okay. It looks like that. It will. When it comes to crochet, you just got to trust the process and hopefully trust the designer. I promise, no matter how wonky it looks, even if it looks wonky to the last row, I promise that it will look normal if you follow me and keep your stitch count. No matter how wonky it looks, it will look correct in the end. All right. Okay, so now we're going to do our next row. We did our half double crochet 2 together row. I forgot what row we're on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that was row 9, I think so, for us. For one's doing 72 stitches. Okay, so row 10, we are going to chain 1, and what we're going to do now is a single crochet in each one of these. So we're just going to go back into that same stitch and single crochet, and we are going to work across, putting 1 single crochet into the top of each of those half double crochet 2 togethers. Now make sure you keep count. It's very important that you have 72 stitches, unless you're making the 4-way. It's very important that you have the 60 stitches. All right, so keep track. Make sure you're putting 1 single crochet on top of each one of those. And then I'll meet back up with you when we make it back around. You should have 72 single crochets when you make it back around. All right, so I've come to the end of my round of single crochet. I have 72 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into my first single crochet. And I'm going to chain 1, and I'm just going to repeat this round of half double crochet 2 together again, just like we did before. So we're just going to yarn over, go back into that very first single crochet, draw up a loop, yarn over and go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, 5 loops, yarn over and go through all 5. And now we're going to yarn over and go back into this same stitch that we just ended in, draw up a loop, yarn over and go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through all 5 loops. So we're just repeating the row that we did before of the half double crochet 2 togethers. And we're going to do this all the way around, and I'll meet back up with you at the end here to show you how to end it again, because we have to make sure that we have 72 of these, 60 if you're using a 4 weight. All right, so remember, we're just doing the half double crochet 2 together row again, yarn over, go back into the same stitch that we just finished in, drop a loop, yarn over and go into the next empty stitch, draw up a loop, 5 loops, yarn over and go through all 5, and repeat. All right, I'll see you back up here at the beginning. All right, I've made it back around, and again I have 71 stitches. I have no stitches left, and I need 72. So we're going to end it the same way that we ended the other one. We're going to yarn over and go back into that last stitch that we just worked in and draw up a loop, and then we're going to yarn over and go into the very first stitch that we worked in and draw up a loop, yarn over and go through all 5 loops. That'll give us our 72 stitches. We're going to slip stitch into our first stitch here, maybe I can get it here. Oh my god, this is embarrassing. All right, so 72 stitches. All right, now we're going to do another row of single crochet. So we're going to chain 1, go back into that same stitch, single crochet, and then we're going to work 1 single crochet in the top of each one of these half double crochet 2 togethers all the way around. Remember, it's very important that you have your 72 stitches when you make it back around. All right, 1 single in every stitch. I'll be back up with you. All right, so I've made it back around. I have 72 single crochets. I'm going to end by a slip stitch into my first one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to repeat the half double crochet 2 together and row, and then the single crochet row, and then the half double crochet 2 together row, and then the single crochet row. All right, so go ahead and repeat that. I guess you can do it as much as you want, but you can do it to the end if you want, but I'll probably put maybe like a single crochet brim on mine or something. Maybe. I'm just going to go ahead and repeat that. So it's very important, remember, that you have 72 stitches at the end of each round. So we're going to do, the next round will be our half double crochet 2 together, then we do single crochet, the half double crochet 2 together, and the single crochet. I'm not sure if I'll repeat that twice or 3 times. I'll let you know here in just a second. All right, so what I have done now is in total, I've done 4 rows of the half double crochet 2 together. So you can see them right here. I know my yarn's busy, but here's 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's single crochet rows in between them, and I just put a single crochet after this last row. You can do more if you want. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to put a brim on my hat, so I'm just going to do rounds of single crochet now. And you can do your brim however you want, or you can keep doing this pattern all the way to the bottom. You know, it's your hat, however you want to do it. But, you know, if you want to follow along with me, I have the 4 rows of the half double crochet 2 togethers, and there is single crochet rows in between. I just did a single crochet after my fourth one there, and now I'm just going to work rounds of chain one single crochet in every stitch, round and around. I'll have 72 stitches at the end of every round, and I'm going to do this for however long I want my brim to be. I'm not quite sure how many I'll do. You do yours as long or as short as you'd like your brim. If you want a different brim, feel free to make something different. But mine's just going to be rows of single crochet. 72 stitches at the end of every row. And I'll let you know here in just a second how many total rows I do for the brim of my hat. Alright, so I went ahead and did 5 rounds of single crochet for the brim. But you know, it's your hat. You do as many as you like, okay? And then when you get finished, you just want to slip stitch into the next one, and then we can tie this off and hide the tail, and then it will be done. I think that it's pretty. The yarn is really pretty. Stitches don't really show up that well with this one, but still pretty with this yarn, but it's still pretty. Anyways, sometimes you just want to showcase that yarn, I guess. But the hat's pretty and would be beautiful in a solid stitch as well. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed my tutorial. Hope you were able to follow along okay. Remember to hit that subscribe button. I have hundreds, beyond hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of crochet tutorials. I have anything that you could ever want to make. Anything. And I have multiples of them as well. So hit that subscribe button. It is free. And give me a like and a comment below. Yeah? I like it. I like the yarn. It's really pretty. I'll see you guys on my next one, okay? Bye, guys.